Hey everybody! On today's video we're going to take the under the bridge troll bike and make it more fishable by adding rod holders, one for the spinning rod and one for my fly rod. Right now I use the bike quite a bit. Like I'll ride the bike to the Atlantic side to check the water conditions, go up onto the White Street Pier and be able to take a look around, see if the tarpon are around. But when I want to go fishing, since this doesn't have rod holders, the only way I could put the rods are in the basket or hold them in my hand, and it's really a big hassle, especially when I want to do fly and spin with two rods. It's almost impossible, so I end up taking my motorcycle. As you can see, the motorcycle is perfectly set up for the spinning and the fly rod. Plus I have a carrying case for my stuff, so it makes it a lot more convenient. One of the biggest benefits of being able to use the bicycle instead of the motorcycle is that on the White Street Pier you could ride your bike all the way to the end. The motorcycle you gotta park in the lot and then walk all that way. Originally the plan was to go the route of a standard bike rack and then mount onto those. But it was very hard to find a used old bike rack. I didn't want to go out and get a brand new nice chrome one. It just doesn't work with the nice patina style I've got going. So I figured I would develop something just on my own. My next plan was that these studs here for the rear wheel are meant for the rack. So it's got two nuts on it, so I could take one nut off and basically create a rack out of PVC, but then the back end would be for the rods. So I would have a rod bolted to the stud there, then maybe a T that goes across, so I'd have one on each side, and then I could make a mount, some tubing or something that would crisscross and then mount to there, and that would give my stability. But then I also ran into another problem. Because I'm trying to do a fly rod and a spinning rod, the ends are quite a bit different. So the fly rod has just a blunt end, and then the spinning rod has that long shaft there. So having the two different heights would be a problem, since this isn't going to sit down, it's just going to sit on the top, and it's already quite a bit taller than my spinning rods. So this thing would be sticking 10, 11 feet in the air, which is not good with all the trees we have. Then while looking at it, I just saw that these frames are pretty straight, and instead of doing all this other stuff that would be all out of the way and then super high on over here and the fly rod sticking way out, I could actually just do individual pipes and bolt them straight to the frame. Just keep it simple. And then on whichever side for the fly rod, it's got a bigger butt on it, so I have to go to a bigger PCV, but it doesn't need to be as long. So I could just cut this down and just do a short section, maybe this high, and then just the fly rod sits on the top there, and we're good to go. Okay, so far what I did is, because the pedals are going to rotate around with my shoe on it and the heel kicking back, I wanted to make sure that this part wasn't going to interfere with me pedaling. So after I got it kind of figured out what angle that I could actually utilize, I went ahead and drilled a couple holes equally on either side, and then I'm going to use the self-tapping hex heads, or actually just regular, hex heads, and that's what I'm going to use to basically tap and hold. Then I took the PVC and I drilled just the small hole for the bolt to actually mount up against the frame, and then a larger hole so I could stick the ratchet through and tighten it down. So that gives us our lower mount. Now we could play with the angles to get where we're going to have it finally positioned, and then tap and screw in the top holes. Now I'll probably notch the PVCs for the handles on the spinning rod so they'll lock into however I want it, but I wanted to make sure that there was no clearance issues with the tires as it's bolted against it. Okay, the one side is mounted, just a through screw there, one bolt there, and it's solid. I mean, there's really not going to be any pressure on that. And like I said, I can notch this so it sits down a little bit farther. This side, there's no clearance issues with the tire, so I think we're good there. Heck, I could even have it sit like that if I wanted to, so I could pick the angle when I do the notching, but that looks good right there. One of the most effective tools that I bought for the kayak fishing is a PVC cutter. There's make things so much easier than trying to hand cut stuff all the time. Unless you got a bandsaw, these things are just so practical. It makes projects so much easier. Just open them up, square them off where you want to cut it. Oops. And then it's got a ratchet. Oops. Mine's kind of rusty. You just keep squeezing and it slowly starts cutting that PVC. And that's it, it's done. Then you have a nice clean cut, and it's generally fairly straight. Just that easy. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make notches for the reel seat to lock down into, because right now it'll be just swinging around, get stuck in the spokes and destroy my reel. So I'm just going to drill a hole down here and then cut out a slot, and then this will just sit in there and it'll lock in. Okay, to make a notch, I just used a drill bit, a large drill bit, drill the hole for where I want the base to be, and then a die grinder to cut the edges so it's the right width. And there we go. Okay, it's all mounted, ready to go, notched out. Drop the rod, find the slot, it sits in there, and then it doesn't have the ability to spin, so it's not going to get in the wheels, and it's solid. Now I just got to do the other side for the fly rod. It's going to be the same setup over here. I could only go up to where it butts against the cork there, so that's the depth that it'll sit, and then it's got to be from that width in there. It's a little bit more angles, but I think I just need to get it to wedge. Just has to wedge in there. That's how I do on my regular rod holders. It doesn't go way down or anything. So just a little wedge, and we should be good. Okay, the fly rod side is notched there, bolted on, and it's just going to go in that slot and sit like that. And again, it's not going to go anywhere. All right, there's the final product. Got the fly reel side all notched in there. Come around to the other side. Sit in there. And I could still use the regular spinning rod on that side. The notch works fine. And then we've got the spinning reel side. And easy in. Drop it in the notch and it won't twist and get in the spokes. Perfect. Okay, project complete. Basic cost breakdown was $5 for the larger diameter PVC, and then I think it was around $4.50 for the little bit smaller diameter, and another $1.50 for some screws and washers, and the rest was just labor. So nice, quick, easy project, kind of like, and it's going to be very effective because now instead of just riding my bike out there and seeing fish, I'm going to take those rods and throw at them. So anyways, thank a few of my Patreon sponsors for paying for the modification. I'll scroll them here as they kind of come up. There they go. But hopefully you enjoyed that rainy day video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye.